Hey folks, I am Kevin Ioli. Welcome to Yahoo Sports. And my guest right now is a guy that kind of stole some thunder from the folks on the top of the card at UFC 265 last week in Houston. Of course, I'm talking about welterweight Vicente Luque, an impressive Darce choke submission of Michael Chiesa, and a fight that I thought was going to be a dogfight for 3 rounds. You made it look easy, my friend. How are you, Vicente?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I also thought it was going to be, a 3-rounder. I was ready for war and I got that finish. I was able to find the Darce, and yeah, it couldn't be a better win.
No doubt. And now it'll put you in an interesting position. Kamaru Usman, the champion, is going to fight Colby Covington, the #1 contender, in a rematch. Your very close friend, Gilbert Burns, is ranked #2. The only other person above you is Leon Edwards, who kind of a lot of people think deserves the title shot. He's been around on a long winning streak. So is Edwards your target, or do you feel like, you can even leapfrog him and fight the Usman Covington winner?
I mean, I think right now I got a lot of options. If Usman beats Colby, I think that could be a fight that I could get. He has fought Leon. He has fought everybody up there. I would be the only top 5 right now that he hasn't faced yet. So I would say the top 4, right? So, I think that's something that is a fight that makes a lot of sense. It's a fight that I would like to have, especially because of our styles also. I think that's something the UFC really appreciates. The way I fight, I'm sure like whoever, I'm matched against up, it's going to be a good fight. I'm going to make that fight good. Even if guys are going to try to stall, even if guys are going to try to secure a win against me, I'm always looking to finish. I'm always looking, to put them in danger, to hurt them. So I think that's what I bring to this fight. That's what I can really make it an interesting title fight. So that's why I think that I might get that fight if everything works out. But at the same time, I think it makes sense maybe one more fight before that. Leon would be a perfect fight. It would be a rematch. He beat me in 2017, so I definitely want that one back. I would love to fight against him. I think it's a fight that, yeah, it's interesting, and it's really gonna define who really deserves the title fight. I think he is deserving. I think I'm deserving. So if we fight, that would be the end of that question. And I don't know. I got a lot of options right now. First of all, I'm gonna rest from this fight, from this hard training camp, and then I'll evaluate everything.
I want to go back to the Burns-Usman fight. A lot of people were picking Gilbert Burns to beat Kamaru. Obviously, the three of you were very intertwined, trained together, friends, the whole 9 yards. And obviously, Gilbert had difficulty with the relationship aspect, and they were friends, and then going into fight. How would you make sure that the mistakes that Gilbert made, you wouldn't make against Kamaru?
First of all, I was cornering Gilbert for that fight, so it was a big opportunity where I could learn a lot from that. Not only because there were 2 guys that knew each other fighting, but also it was a title fight. It was the first time I was cornering somebody for a title fight, so I really could live that experience, not as a fighter, but really close, almost like if I were fighting. And I could see it's a different atmosphere. It's definitely different. It's a whole different level when you're fighting for the title. So I think that kind of gets me a little bit ready, for that fight. It's not going to be the same as fighting, but it kind of gives me an idea of what that level is. And me and Kamaru, we have a really good relationship. We are friends, and we were training partners. But at the same time, we've talked about fighting each other. We knew that this eventually was going to happen. And we're both tough competitors. We love competing. We want to be the best. He is the best right now. So he's the guy that I need to be, so I can say that I'm the best in the world. So it just makes sense for me. I don't take it personally. I just take it as business and as my dream. I want to be the best. And that's the guy I got to beat right now, Kamaru Usman. He is the one that holds that title, and he is the best welterweight in the world.
We have him at Yahoo Sports. We have him ranked #1 pound for pound because John Jones has been inactive. So we removed Jones for inactivity and now have Kamaru #1 pound for pound. But, it seems like in the last couple of years that he has made a quantum leap up. Like, he was always a good fighter, but that he's really taken it to another level. What do you see in him that's the difference in him from, say 2-3 years ago to today?
I think the difference is just time, because since I met him back in 2014 and we lived together in the Ultimate Fighter house, I could see how much discipline, how much work he put into his career, how much he wanted to learn new skills. He is one of the, he's a great wrestler, but he puts on the gi and trains jiu-jitsu. I believe he's a black belt now under George. So, he's a guy that has always been really disciplined. So I think that what we see now is time. Now he has had a lot of time to develop, to improve in every single aspect. So he was a great wrestler, then he became a great grappler, and now he is even a great striker, knocking out somebody like he did with Masvidal. Not everybody can do something like that, so he has definitely improved his boxing. And that's why he's the best in the world. That's why he is, pound for pound in you guys' ranking. And I do definitely agree with that. So that's what I took a lot from him as well. I've always watched his discipline. I've always watched his work ethic and try to, take from that and apply it to myself.
When we look at you, you're kind of in a similar situation, right? A lot of people think of you as a striker. The last two fights, you defeat Tyron Woodley, you defeat Michael Chiesa, both guys that are tremendous on the ground. And you overcame a little adversity in both of those fights, right? I mean, does that make it sweeter, the fact that in both fights, you were in a little bit of trouble in each one and that you came back and won?
Yeah, that's something that has always happened to me in most of my fights. I seem to get hit sometimes, even in shots that I shouldn't get hit. Henry is always saying, hey, in the first round, he's always going to get jabbed in the face, and then he's going to have the red nose, and then we know that the fight's going to start. And I don't know, it's just the way I am. Sometimes I kind of like need to get hit so that I really understand that I'm fighting. But once I get that I'm fighting, then I turn it up and I go all in, and it's my style. I don't know how to fight, let's say, warm fights, kind of just secure a win. I'm not able to do that. If I see a finish opportunity, be it on the stand-up, be it on the ground, I'm going to go for it. And that's something I've been working on, be a complete MMA fighter. So I work a lot of grappling. I work a lot of wrestling. Besides, all the training I put on stand-up, which is my strongest point, I believe. So I think for me to become a champion, I got to be an MMA fighter. I got to be a complete fighter. And that's what I'm aiming for.
When when Chiesa got your back there briefly, were you ever in trouble? Was there ever a situation where, like, oh boy, was it close? And, did you remain calm that whole time?
I remained calm the whole time, and it was 80% in. So I would say that that's close. But at the same time, in no moment I felt like I was going to be finished. That's something I worked a lot in the gym for this training camp. I had guys taking my back and trying to, do the rear naked choke many times, repeating that a lot, over and over. I would get rested, guys. I was in the middle, so I would be tired, and they would come in and try to submit me because I knew that that's the best position that Chiesa has. So I had to be ready to defend that. At some point, I could end up there, and I did end up there really early. So Chiesa was still explosive. He still had a lot of power, but I was able to defend myself and get out of it. And after that, right away, get the darts, which was, really good.
It's crazy. I want to totally change the subject for one quick second because it's something I've always wanted to ask you. And I'm sure you've seen these pictures all over the internet of Mike Perry's face after the two of you guys fought. And Mike, his face kind of always looks bad after he fights. That's sort of his style of fighter. But, his nose, I think, was over here. And, his this eye was over here. I mean, it was crazy. Have you looked at that picture and ever gone, like, I did this to him?
Yeah, man. It's crazy because that picture, I think it says a lot of things. The first thing is, man, that's a really bad injury, and for that, it's not something that I would say I'm proud of because I don't want anybody to be injured like that. It's a really tough spot to be on, but the biggest thing that it says is how tough a certain human beings can be, and that guy is tough. Mike Perry is as tough as they come. I don't think if I would be so relaxed and so calm after getting my nose broken like that. I put him on a guillotine, and he just held it for over a minute, with all that blood. So what I most feel when I see that fight and that picture, I think like how tough this guy is. How can somebody take something like that? And I try to put it on my mind that I gotta be as tough as that so I can become champion one day. So if ever something happens like that to me, I'm gonna remember Mike Perry took it, so I gotta, hold it and take it as well.
What, when you think of the championship, obviously, it denotes you as the best in the world in that weight class. But do you ever think of what it would do for you outside the cage, like, and what it would do for your family and whatnot if you became UFC champion?
I mean, I do think a little bit about it, but I think it's mostly a consequence. The focus is to become a champion. That has always been my dream since I'm 15 years old. That's when I started competing in Muay Thai, and I already knew that I wanted to transition to MMA and become a UFC champion. So that's the biggest thing: fulfilling my goal, fulfilling the goal that I had as a little kid, and making sure that little kid, has his dream accomplished. And everything else, I think, is a consequence. Even before I become a champion, I'm giving a better life to my family. Everybody here in Brazil, I'm able to build a family. With my wife, I have a kid now. So this is all consequence of my hard work, of everything that I'm achieving. And becoming a champion will have great consequences. I will have even more things that I can provide to my family, and more impact that I can have here. I'm in Brazil right now, so I can have here with the kids that I have in the gym that work with me here for many years. And I want even like to more guys here from my city can reach the UFC. So there are a lot of things that come with becoming a champion, but I see them all as consequences. The first thing, the first focus is to really work hard and get that championship, and then I can enjoy all the consequences of it.
So final question then, what is the next step? Do you anticipate the UFC reaching out to you at some point, or will you have your management reach out to them? What will be the next step so you kind of navigate this whole process?
Right now, what I can say is after I get about 2 weeks of rest, I'll get back to training and I'll stay ready. I don't know if it's realistic that I'm going to fight for the title next. If that's going to happen, I got to see what's the time line. I don't want to be over a year without fighting. Right. I'm a guy that I'm always active. I feel like staying active is really important for me. I am always improving. I'm always developing when I fight. So if it's going to take too long for that title fight, I might fight another fight before that, just so that I can really stay active. So right now I'm going to stay ready. We got Colby and Kamaru in November. If something, I hope nothing happens with that fight, but if something happens, I might be ready, to step in if they need to. So I think that's the smartest thing to do right now. Stay ready and see how things play out.
Well, I think it'll play out in your favor because good things happen to good people. And I'll tell you what, the UFC has a ton of nice guys, and there's no doubt about that because I've covered the UFC over 20 years. You are right at the top, my friend. So wish you all the best, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man.